The grand tournament of the series is upon us as Season 2 comes to a close with the Pro Play Tour Invitational, where players will be playing for $25,000 in cash and prizes. Still not qualified? Last chance qualifiers will occur on day 1 of our 3-day event and will fire every 8 players, awarding a box in prizing and invites. Be ready to play a few, because LCQs are only $10. Saturday is day 1 of the main event with a top competitor playoff following on Sunday. Stick around for day 3, where we will have team events as well as a variety of side events. For more information, visit ppgeventmanagement.com and come play with the pros.
So let's talk about this. So Magical Musketeer versus Altergeist.
Wow. It is not great for the Altergeist player. If Max is ever able to resolve, they're going to be able to special between 3 and 5 monsters from the deck just by virtue of Altergeist relying on trap cards, and that's going to spell the end of Copes' career.
We've also seen Magical Musketeers make this weird roguish comeback into the metagame. It's actually been able to consistently top and or almost top multiple events of the past several months in this particular format, which is interesting. It's this going second rogue deck, essentially, and it's just good because you can play all these good going second cards and kind of just kill your opponent, because guess what? Magical Musketeer Max just happens to be one of the craziest cards ever printed for this archetype.
I hear it's pretty good.
Yeah, so without further ado, let's not make you guys wait any longer and get right into your top 8 feature match. And both players should be ready to go. Looks like they're just hanging out over there.
We're grabbing brackets real quick. It may be a couple minutes. Yeah.
Yep, and it looks like they're all good.
All right, and we're shuffling up. How much depends on this die roll?
I don't know, because
the answer's nothing, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm is there something relies on the die roll? Yeah, Altergeist wants to go first, Muskus wants to go second. So, honestly, they don't even have to roll the dice. But so we'll see. I mean, obviously, maybe the mind games in the side deck can come up a little bit later on.
If you are confident in your opponent's traps abilities to stop your play, you might select first as the Musket player just to be able to set things like potential rank 4s, Cosmic Cyclones in response to something like a personnel spoofing instead of as a reaction to. But it looks like Safwan will be going first. I don't know if that was by his decision or by Fritz's.
I'm going to assume Fritz won the die roll and is making him go first.
So
I feel like that, at least with the trend of Magical Musketeer decks as of late, that makes sense. So,
of course, Musketeer Max is terrible if it's not able to actually do anything.
Right. So Safwan started with a copy of Starfire, which allows, if a card is activated in the same column, you get to special summon a Magical Musketeer from the deck. He then followed it up with Pot of Desires, of course, in the same column, getting to draw 2 more cards. And now
I think we're seeing Caspar.
Most likely, assuming he didn't banish him off Desires, but it looks like he didn't.
I've done that.
Of course.
Now, Safwan's deck is particularly interesting. The truth that all Magical Musketeers must rankle with eventually is that there's only 3 good Magical Musketeers: Starfire, Kid Brave, and Caspar. Doc is fine. He's also playing a 1 of Magical Musketeer Calamity in order to make Utopia double.
That's usually how Magical Musketeer can just close out so many games. I mean, Utopia double, we even saw it with Yobani, with the Gladiator Beast player in the top 16. It's just become a win condition for so many decks, kind of very in line with something like Borosword Dragon, but for any deck that can consistently make rank 4 Xyz monsters.
As a result of the Xyz era, a lot of rogue decks are furnished with these incredibly powerful rank 4 options. So if you aren't able to flex your card advantage or linear play against something like an Orcust, a Salamangreat, or a Striker, negating it by just winning the game off of 1 card is pretty important.
Now, Safwan actually won he didn't win. He got 3rd place at a regional not too long ago playing this very deck. So
oh, wow. So a storied player coming back to smash face again.
Very much so. And this is one of the few decks where column play is actually going to matter. Someone call Shannon Long. So we're going to see a Altergeist Meluseek on Fritz's side. It's going to swing in for 500 direct because it can attack directly. And then that's going to have the ability to send a card on Safwan's field to the graveyard.
What do you pick here? I'm inclined to say the back row behind Caspar because, of course, you can't respond as it's in the damage step. But Safwan is also on Cross Dominator, which is one of the very few cards that modifies attack and defense and can be activated in the damage step, triggering Caspar and putting Safwan in a huge position. Oh, wait, does it trigger because it's in damage? I think it actually doesn't.
I'm not sure, actually, but it looks like whatever the case is, Fritz is going to go for the Starfire.
All right, disregard everything I said, chat. And then in main phase 2, I think we're likely to see this Meluseek hit the graveyard.
Become a Link Karibo.
We could make Al Mirage.
That's fair. Al Mirage, that's fair.
Nah, Link Karibo it is.
Yeah.
Muskets can't trigger in the damage depth. That's going to be important, chat. Something I wish we had known for previous PPG events. Can you blame us? We didn't think there would be a Musketeer in top 8.
So here we go. We're going to have a chain link. So Mayusik is going to be chain link 1 to search an Altergeist, and then Phantasme is going to be chain link 2. This is going to give Safwan a couple cards to work with here, help sculpt his hand out a little bit. Just a very powerful card all around.
Phant is an incredible card in Magical Musketeers specifically because you routinely end up with a lot of conditional or situational Magical Musket spells and traps in your hand. Putting those back and allowing them to be searched at will with Caspar in exchange for just generally good cards like instant fusions, super polymerizations is amazing.
Phantasme can also be very instrumental here because depending on which specific back row Fritz has opened, it could actually lock them down. So Fritz is playing 3 copies of Impermanence, 3 copies of Compulse, and it looks like this Cosmic Cyclone is going to hit a Solemn Strike here. So
I don't know how much I like that in Magical Musketeer. Obviously, it's under the Caspar column, so there's a reason to activate it as early as possible. But against Altergeist specifically, I love saving a Cosmic Cyclone for something like a personal spoofing.
See, I actually do like this because you clear out 1 back row in the end phase, right? And then Caspar's getting Last Stand, which effectively blanks another one. And then if, like I said, one of those other back row is a Compulse or a Impermanence, Phantasme can just take care of that. So effectively, you have all 3 back row taken care of, and then you proceed to advance your game state.
You know what? That's a good point. I think you're right.
So he's going to immediately flip Protocol here. This is going to prompt the Multi-Faker, but this also could just make Last Stand have an appearance. Oh, but he's going to use Desperado.
Desperado's good, but unfortunately doesn't negate the activation of the cards. There still will be able to be a Multi-Faker activation post-chain resolution.
Correct, but Safwan also still has the Last Stand in his hand.
Yeah, to deal with that last remaining card, and can't stress this enough. Negating a personnel spoofing is the most powerful play against Altergeist. Watching them minus themselves in an attempt to make it out of a sticky situation, only for you to go up in card advantage, is backbreaking.
But not to mention, with Multi-Faker, if he opts to go for Sulquidius here, the thing is, Sulquidius targets, so Phantasme can just easily take care of it.
Phantasme is just so strong against Geist. It's very odd that a deck that seems not to rely on targeted effects actually incidentally uses them almost exclusively.
So Safwan also now gets to get a search off the Caspar here because he played the Desperado in the same column as the Caspar. Now, do keep in mind, he's able to use that trap card from the hand because Magical Musketeers can have the ability to use any Magical Musketeer card from the hand as long as you control a Magical Musketeer. So he's going to go for Cross Dominator, it looks like. Cross Dominator, very, very good card. It reduces the attack and defense of a monster to 0 and also negates its effects. So it's like in-theme searchable Forbidden Chalice plus make their attack 0 instead of giving them 400 attack.
So it is a... Oh, so here's what's happening. The Caspar is activating as Chain Link 2. Or no, the Caspar is activating on a chain that includes... the activation of a trap card. And then after the resolution, when Multi-Faker is summoned, Caspar's effect activates on that same chain.
Wow.
Then when the second effect of Multi-Faker is activated, it is ripe for cross-dominating.
And that is going to be used as Chain Link 2, negating Multi-Faker's effect. And now here comes Max. Max is not going to get the biggest payload here. For those of you who don't know, Magical Musketeer Max can either add Magical Musketeer spells and traps to your hand equal to the number of monsters your opponent controls, or special summon monsters equal to the number of spells and traps they control. So
I think he actually might be adding spells and traps. I mean, you can summon 1 monster, which is sweet and very powerful, or you can add 2 Cross Dominator.
But I got to say, I mean, that was really impressive with Safwan, just with that heads up of getting Cross Dominator and just knowing the chain links and how they're going to resolve to be able to stop this Multi-Faker. And here's the Calamity. Is he going to go for the OTK?
Ooh.
Multi-Faker, Multi-Faker's in defense, so he might not be able to here.
So Calamity is the 1 4-star that is only okay. It's played exclusively to make Utopia double.
So I'm curious then if he's not going for the double play, what his plan is. There's Instant Fusion, so that can get him a 4. What are the rank 4s does Safwan play?
I think he's only on Thousand Eyes. Oh, nope, there's a Mud Dragon of the Swamp. And he's going to scoop him up. He's seen enough.
I mean, if he made it this far, of course. So I'd be really curious to see it actually go toe-to-toe with the best deck of the format and see how that plays out. Fritz is opting to go first here.
All right.
Wow, he just set 1 and Pat. Did you see that shake of the head?
Wow.
Now
If
he could.
You are Safwan. You are happy.
He could have some hand traps here. We're going to see Starfire be placed in the column of the set card.
I would consider just passing. Ooh.
So Protocol's going to immediately flipped, but this can trigger the Starfire.
It can trigger the Starfire, and if there's a last stand in hand, the game is over. He's thinking about it. Do I want to waste a free activation on something like a last stand? Ooh, and he
Red
does.
reboot.
That's even better.
That's effectively the same thing.
Let's see if he goes for it. Red Reboot allows you to not mandatorily set a trap card from your deck, but that gives Magical Musketeer Max fuel. And it looks like he is going to go for it, thinking, okay, one additional monster isn't going to matter. What's the set card going to be?
I think
Solemn
I think there
Judgment?
was a Pro Play Tour match with Muskets where the player got red rebooted and opted not to set,
Yeah.
if I recall.
Ooh, it looks like he's thinking about Trap Trick. Trap Trick would be good.
Except you
it's
can't use
mutable,
it.
but it's going to be at least a turn before that happens.
I mean, now the thing is, Safwan, again, I don't know how likely it is that he can OTK, considering he is playing Boral Sword, though.
Well,
So if he can find a way to make that line work, I don't think it's very likely if he can't get
he just
a
needs one free special, right? So Starfire is going to special a monster out of the deck. We can then link summon a copy of Max. We'll get 2 monsters. That's 4. We just have to figure out a way to switch it.
So
The
we would
single
just-
attack is guaranteed. We don't have the double.
So we would just need one more monster at that point. Going for Imperial Order.
I don't like that at all.
I don't.
I mean, that's going to stop what? Cross
He's
domination?
maybe thinking about trying to stop double or nothing.
Ooh.
But
That's cute, but also late.
So
No, friend. Red Reboot negates activations as well.
so Multi-Faker cannot resolve.
It's much worse than you've been led to believe. I think the game may be over right now.
It is nice though that Fritz opened the Multi-Faker, I will say. And I think Safwan's just explaining.
We might have to read the cards real quick.
Looks like the table judge over there is just checking.
And correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I believe that Multi-Faker does have to see the effect activation. If it doesn't happen, he rots in the hand. And with no ability to activate traps for the rest of the turn, he's going to stay there at least until Fritz's draw step. Ooh, Red Reboot. Good card.
It's funny, you don't really see Red Reboot very often on a lone card.
Yeah.
Usually like it'll be into like 5 back row.
Yeah, but imagine being in Safwan's position. Like, your opponent is playing the trap card deck, sets one card, you have one Red Reboot in hand, and you go, oh, sweet. That's the whole turn. If they had something like a Solemn Judgment to back it up, you might be in trouble, but they don't.
Let's see if this...
And a little giggle out of Fritz. Yeah, things aren't going fantastic. So let's see if it's been a couple of seconds. Safwan's got to remember to activate the Starfire effect as well. He will, and it'll get
ashed. Okay.
Okay, so it looks like we're not going to get Boral sorted this turn. We are going to at least get maxed for 2. I don't know if I like that. While Caspar is frightening, you get 2 monsters off of Max, and Starfire only gets 1. Unfortunately, I think chat is right here. You should have ashed this card.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a mistake that a lot of players who are inexperienced against Muskets make, is that they don't wait for the max.
Max is a huge choke point for the deck. You know, this deck was legal for, I think, the better part of a year and topped absolutely nothing without access to this Link monster. It's been the difference between the deck as a playable rogue option and as pack filler. And so saving all of your interaction for this singular card that's enabled the archetype is important if you intend to pick up the game.
I'm confused. What's happening? Why are they reversing?
Yeah, we'll have to figure it out real quick from the judge.
Yeah, this is confusing. What are they waiting for? Because there's really no other discrepancy here.
I believe that Fritz is appealing the ruling. So we're going to grab the head judge real quick. Reversing the game state real quick to end up here. And he says, okay, I think he's okay with it. Oh, no, the Red Reboot's actually in the graveyard, so it would be misrepresenting the game state.
Yeah, so keep in mind for anyone watching this too that the timer in the top left corner will also not be accurate at this point, just simply because we don't have the ability to stop it on our end. But so there might be a couple minutes off. I don't know if time will actually be a factor in this case, but if it does, just bear in mind that there'll be a couple minutes difference between the actual clock. It looks like we're getting back to it though.
It's been resolved. It's been ruled for Safwan, and we are back to Max.
Yep. And so now we're back to Max. Max is going to be special summoning out several monsters here.
So Caspar, of course. I think we're also likely getting Doc to get that Starfire back in hand. Depending on the hand, we could also go for Kid Brave if there's too many spells and traps and we want to cycle into more relevant stuff. But, I mean, really anything at this point is a fantastic option.
Yeah, again, he's not going to be OTKing here. I think with the Starfire getting ashed, it lost any hopes of that. If Max would have gotten mashed, that also would have pretty much stopped any hopes of that happening either.
Are going for the Kid Brave. That gives a little bit of insight into Safwan's hand.
Kid Brave is the trade-in, I recall.
It is.
Yes. Discard 1, draw 2.
A lot of people talk about how the OCG translation was a lot better than the TCGs. I don't agree, but Kid Brave was Shooter the Kid, and that's a sweet one.
Now an instant fusion. So that'll give him another monster.
Ooh, that we could have Boral sorted.
Ooh. Can he still?
He can at the very least make a rank 4. He can get Muddragon here, which it looks like he's done. And then we're taking a quick look at the graveyard. Are we actually going to see the Boral Sword OTK? I think more likely we're going to see a Nightmare Chain.
So the activation of Caspar. Because at this point, if you're Safwan, you have to deal with these. Well, you don't necessarily have to deal with the back row. I mean, Imperial Order could not matter.
You'll probably have to deal with Protocol. More importantly, you'll have to find the negation needed to prevent Multi-Faker from coming down.
So we're going to see a search of Cross Dominator off the Caspar.
Sure. You know, it's also just possible that we're instant fusioning here to trigger Caspar. You know, cycling the instant fusion effectively. We're going to activate the effect of Muddragon.
Wow.
Fritz just kind of shakes his head. Yeah, okay. Muddragon of the Swamp can prevent targeting of monsters of the same attribute as him and has the ability to change his attribute at will.
So here comes a Nightmare Phoenix. This is co-linked.
Discarding the Death Barado? Come on. That's such a strong card. If you're discarding it, your hand must be stacked.
So Protocol is no longer relevant here. Is Max 500?
Max is 1,000.
Oh, 1,000? Okay, excuse me. So 1,000, 19 from the Phoenix, and Caspar is 12?
That sounds about right. Let me look them up.
Not about the players, just about even. But I think at this point, Safwan pretty much has everything he needs to just have a lock on this game.
Caspar is 12, and Max is 1,000. Yes.
Okay. Wow, we were right.
Doesn't happen often, chat, as you will attest to. All right, well, Fritz makes it to his draw step with the material necessary to trigger Faker, but I can't imagine there's not a last stand in Safwan's hand.
I agree. There's got to be a last stand. There's got to be. We know he has the cross dominator. I see the last stand as well, by the way.
Okay, great.
So Fritz is going to set a couple cards here. Again, we know the Faker's in hand.
Passing here is pretty good. With 3 traps, you're more than likely to resolve one of them. And you can't reboot 2 turns in a row, can you? No, did he draw a second one? I think he did. We're going to max again. Of course, it doesn't have to be in that extra monster zone. This is a 3-summon max.
Wow. Is he just... That is a red reboot. Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
This is going to be... Oh, man. So here we go. Max is resolving for 3 special summons.
Oh, Caspar. You know, imagine seeing 3 set traps and being like, wow, I don't have to fear any of these.
Oh, is he just opting to summon 1? That's not as fun.
Well, fine.
Well, here comes Protocol, and...
I think we probably... Ooh, we are going to go for the last stand here.
Oh, wow, no. Just
no judgment, yeah.
If he had Judgment, he has red reboot, so it doesn't even matter.
This triggers Caspar, which we will eat an infinite impermanence for. That's pretty strong.
And there's the red reboot.
And there it is.
Fritz is just
goes down to 15, and Fritz says, no. I'm not going to play this one
God. I mean, double red reboot. I mean.
I have been on the receiving end of Double Red Reboot, and I felt just about exactly like Fritz felt.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we don't have his exact insight or state of mind, but given the way he conducted himself, his nonverbals, I think it's fair to say he was pretty salty.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you would be in that position, but I mean.